the narrative was like, this one is NIS or she's a paid activist. And then as a joke, I posted my M-Pesa balance on X. I was like, hey, watu wa activism wajanilipa. Ndiye Kenyans are cabbage. And I didn't think people would take it seriously. People sent me over 200,000 Kenya shillings.
Wow.
And it was like, I didn't know.
Generous Kenyans.
Kenyans can be this generous. The phone calls, I had to switch off my phone. Like for the rest of that week, my phone was off. The only way you could reach me was via WhatsApp or Signal. And even still, because I use the same number on WhatsApp, there are some people who chose to call me or send me messages by WhatsApp. And the messages were vile. Like, it's not even light insults, like crazy deep insults. The extent somebody is cursing me and my mother and my kids. And it's like, your lineage is cursed because you're dancing on the blood of the people who've died. I'm like, you people do not even understand what is happening. And I feel like that is a time I understood how propaganda works, how it is easy. So long as you're the first one to set out a narrative, it doesn't matter what the truth is. And the fact that there was the picture of me seated conversing with the royals, that was it. People decided I am a traitor, I have sold out, and they attacked me. And then there was also the protest towards the end of the year of end abductions, and people again started that narrative. I'm a paid activist. I'm only showing up because I'm being paid. And then I was hit directly by a tear gas canister and I lost consciousness. And again, some people are like, oh, she's only pretending. A tear gas cannot hurt you. And this is an explosive tear gas. I'm like, you people, have you ever been on the streets and been attacked by, such a thing? And this was like, I was told this police officer directly aimed the tear gas canister or like from the back of my head. So it was actually a scary moment for me. And I was taken away from the protest area by an ambulance. But I was okay. I was checked. Everything was fine. But the fact that I came out unhurt, people were like, I was just pretending, seeking attention.
On the 25th of June, Kenyans went to the streets. Hashtags became human chains. Tweets became chants. Young Kenyans went to the streets, not with weapons, but with their screens to demand better governance. And that's the power of digital activism. Welcome back to another exciting and informative episode of Digital Dada Podcast. This episode has been made possible by the Association for Progressive Communication. My name is Cecilia Maundu. I'm a broadcast journalist. I'm a digital security trainer, and my work lies in the intersection of technology, human rights, and journalism. And today's guest is not a stranger on your screen, so I will give her the opportunity to introduce herself, and I'm extremely excited to have her sit on this hot seat today.
Thank you so much, Cecilia. My name is Shakira Wafula. I am an active citizen, first and foremost. Professionally, I'm a fitness trainer. I'm also a swimming instructor and a certified lifeguard. I'm a bike enthusiast, and most importantly, I'm a mother to a beautiful 7-year-old boy.
Yeah. Wow. I always tell people I can't swim and I can't ride a bike. I know.
You're missing so much in life.
I know. That's a very lethal combination. But now that I've met you, maybe one of those things might change.
Yes.
Not both of them. I'm not promising anything.
It should be both of them. It should be both of them.
Shakira, thank you so much for making the time to be here. It is such an honor to have you here. So let's begin by, what does digital activism mean to you?
Actually, for me, digital activism, how I relate to it has changed over time. Previously, I was what I like to refer to as a keyboard warrior. I was always retweeting, making posts, but I never had I shouldn't say courage, because the courage is there. I never had this strong will to be out on the streets. So I would follow people like Boniface Mwangi. I would go to Alliance Francaise, Power 254, all these spaces where good conversations happen. But when it came to action, protesting, I would never be involved. I remember earlier last year we had the End Femicide KE march, and I participated in the organizing on Google Meet, and Twitter Spaces were happening. And unfortunately, that day I couldn't show up because I had an exam. So I always had an excuse why I didn't show up until now, June 18th, when the Reject Finance Bill protest started, and I literally didn't have any excuse to not to show up. Like I had no work, I had no school, I had nothing, no commitments whatsoever. And so I had to show up. So previously for me, digital activism was all about making noise and highlighting information that I felt was important for people to know. But now it has converted to more of putting the work in the talk, for lack of a better term, and actually putting actions to civic education, to civic engagement, and political conscientization. Yeah.
Wow. I like what you say, like of you didn't have an excuse. I went for the protest. Actually, me and my friend we went, but we didn't survive for 2 hours. Like, and I found such admiration for people like you who can actually go to the street and be there for hours, running with the tear gas and all that. And our excuse with my friend was like, we are millennials, so we old, and this is not for us. What we are going to do is we are going to be talking on the online platform. Shakira, what stands out for you for June 25th, when we actually now move from the online platform, like the online platform and the physical converged, and we went there now demanding for better? What is the one thing that stands out for you?
I feel like a lot of people connect the Reject Finance Bill's protest successful with the action that happened around June. But I strongly believe it was the End Femicide KE march that made it possible for June to happen. Like I mentioned earlier, End Femicide KE was organized purely online. A lot of us were strangers to each other. We did not know each other. We were just communicating, tweeting, doing the Google Meets, and then the march happened. So personally, I thought that at most 1,000 people would attend that march, and that would have been an extreme success. But it was close to 10,000 people who attended that march. And the fact that even men showed up in solidarity with the plight of women, it was like, wow, it is possible to do something online and for it to be translated to actual action on the ground. So by the time conversations in me started around the finance bill, it felt like a deja vu, like we have done this before. So it was possible that we were still going to show up in large numbers on the street. And the first day of the protest was June 18th. And that was my first time physically going out to protest. And I wasn't even on the streets for more than 1 hour. Because we had the dressing code black, SG Beba flag, Nini. I was out walking, and I encountered, like, I had like police who were arresting people, and I saw a water cannon passing by at some point. But I never really had that direct one-on-one interaction with the police. And we had said we were occupying Parliament.
Yes.
So I was walking towards Parliament. And I think now seeing somebody dressed in black and flag in hand and all that, nikabebwa, like, it wasn't even a conversation or anything. 4 plainclothes police officers surrounded me.
So you were arrested?
And they carried me. I was detained, and they threw me into a car and they drove me to Central Police. So the first day of the protest, I never actually got to protest. I spent the entire day in Central Police Station. And I feel like that is what strongly radicalized me. I feel like if I hadn't been detained that day, I would have been, protests are not all that. And I would never appear in a protest again. But I was detained, and we had all these conversations in the cells, and explaining to each other what compelled us to be out on the streets. Everyone had their own reasons in relation to the finance bill. So we spent the entire day in the cells, and we were released at around 8 p.m. at night. And I went home saying, there is no turning back for me. So I had this, the radicalization that happened and this vigor that I had. It was like almost a vendetta. Like, I know it is my personal right to protest. You buggers did not allow me to protest, so we have to do this. And I feel like also that is what even compelled more people to show up. June 18th. My viral moment was actually June 18th. A lot of people think it's 25th.
I'll remember that. I'll never forget that photo.
Yeah, it was June 18th. And I'm proud to say that video encouraged a lot of people to come out, because it was like, oh, this young girl, a Muslim at that. People are not used to seeing Muslim ladies actively participating in that aspect. And I was able to motivate a lot of people to come out for June 25th. So that impact of the connection of what happens on the ground being translated to the digital space, and now people relating to it and actually getting the courage and motivation to actively participate, that is what does it for me. Yeah.
That picture will never fade from my mind. And in fact, at first when I saw it, I thought maybe you're just wearing the hijab for, like, you don't want people to know you. And then I saw a comment and I'm like, oh, wow, she's actually Muslim. Because, we associate like, oh, no, they're not allowed, or blah, blah, blah. So you as an individual, now that you got onto the spotlight without even, you just found yourself on the spotlight.
Yeah.
What is the one thing do you think that feminists, especially those who are very, very active on the online platform, can take an example from you?
It's just showing up. A lot of people, I was branded the face of courage, and a lot of people falsely believe courage is moving without fear. And for me, it's like courage is showing up despite the fear. Because I was very frightened. At that particular point, if somebody had bought a heartbeat monitor, they would probably be sending me to a doctor or a cardiologist, because I was scared. But for me, it was that resolve. I had decided we are going to parliament, and it is within our legal rights. So for young women, for young feminists, it's just showing up in spite of the fear that we feel, and standing up and speaking proudly about whatever cause or values that we stand for and strongly believe in. Yeah.
I like that. Showing up is the key word. So to my next question, when you log in online, what does resistance look like to you?
No, just the fact that I'm online, that is resistance. For quite a while, especially up to now, I can't say it has reduced. There's always been targeted attacks on my persona, and the first main one that got me off guard was there was this mural that was drawn of me. And first of all, initially people assumed that I'm the one who commissioned the artist to do it. So they were like how msichana anajisikia aje, anajiona aje. I'm like, I didn't even know. At first I even thought it was AI. I didn't know it was real until I got the contact of this artist, and I went to where it had been drawn, and we had this conversation. It's a stranger, a complete stranger. And then after that, this artist does fridge magnets of his art. So he made fridge magnets of the mural. And me being naive, I just posted it online and told you guys, if you want, you can buy fridge magnets. It's 1,000 shillings, blah, blah, blah. And that's it. Me, usually I just post and leave and then come back whenever I'm available. I find people are literally abusing me. Like, oh, the blood of the people who've died has not even dried. You're here profiteering from people's death. You're out here making money. How selfish can you be? I was like, I even tried to look at how I made that tweet, and I didn't understand where the profiteering or the selfishness came from. Because it's not my art, it is somebody else's art. And guys were happy that the art had been made. So what is so bad about, because the art is in one specific place. And this is like the CEO of this artist. He does murals and then he makes fridge magnets and bookmarks and things like that of this mural. So why is it wrong that he has decided to do it? First of all, artists, making a mural, the spray paint and everything, it costs a lot of money. And nobody paid him for that. And it was so beautiful. Exactly. So the fact that people took offense at those fridge magnets and they decided to attack me, it was crazy. But for me, I'm so proud of the fact that I'm strongly rooted in who I am as an individual. I feel like it took a long time growing up. Like, I feel like compared to my peers, I came to self-actualization later than everyone else. So I hold on more strongly and dearly to my values and to my principle and who I believe I am. And to be honest, if it wasn't for that, I would have broken down from that point. Since then, there was that backlash of the mural, and then that died down. Although up to now, you'll still find one person saying, are the fridge magnets still available? Are you still selling them? And then there was also the protest towards the end of the year of end abductions. And people again started that narrative. I'm a paid activist. I'm only showing up because I'm being paid. And then I was hit directly by a tear gas canister and I lost consciousness. And again, some people are like, oh, she's only pretending. A tear gas cannot hurt you. And this is an explosive tear gas. I'm like, you people, have you ever been on the streets and been attacked by, such a thing? And this was like, I was told this police officer directly aimed the tear gas canister or like from the back of my head. So it was actually a scary moment for me, and I was taken away from the protest area by an ambulance. But I was okay. I was checked. Everything was fine. But the fact that I came out unhurt, people were like, I was just pretending, seeking attention. So it is that, slandering. People came to learn that I'm a single mother. Oh, I was chased away by my husband. I don't know what. There's all these narratives on social media about me. So for me, resistance is the fact that I still am present, showing up the best way that I can. That is resistance, despite all the slander, despite all the abuse and everything. I'm still there.
Sorry about your experience online. I have we are about to start celebrating the 16 days of activism, and this year's theme is digital violence. And you brought in now the issue of tech facilitated gender-based violence, whereby it is violence targeted against a particular gender, which is literally women. Not to say that men don't go through online violence. However, how they go through it is very different from women. You see, people start coming for your personal life or how you look or A, B, C, D. So, Shakira, when the trolls become louder, what reminds you of how you started? What keeps you still on this platform? Because I've been an avid follower of you since then. I think it's the mural actually that made me like, oh, who is this person? So, and I still see you going through, you still being there. I remember there was also a case where you had been invited by a certain embassy or something like that, and people really turned that something into something very, very different. Yes, but ulisalimiwa kweli.
That's actually around that time I cried from the effects of that, because
can you narrate to us the story so our viewers can be able to understand?
Yeah, it was the visit by the Dutch royals. So there was they announced that they are going to visit, and then actually the initial visit was postponed because of all the things that were happening in our country. So Kenyans came up with a petitioning the royals not to visit because their presence here will be like legitimizing Ruto and his regime and all that, the atrocities that he has committed.
This bloodthirsty regime.
Yes. And I was actually part of the group that came up with this petition and helped distribute it. And I signed it myself. So it was presented in their parliament, and they decided that they would still make the trip anyway. And the reason that they gave was that, according to them, if they cancel the trip, it would feel more like turning their back to the plight of Kenyans. And they really wanted to get an honest perspective of what is happening in Kenya. So there was going to be a meeting with young people and people from the movement and activists. And I was invited alongside a couple of people. And I think the people I know, it was Joshua Okayo and Willie Oeba, the poet.
Yeah.
And Willie was not even in the country. I don't think he was in the country at that time. But Joshua decided that he wouldn't attend the meeting.
President, yeah.
And the other people who were in the meeting, what the information I got, there are people selected by the government. So if the royals had decided that they want to hear an honest perspective of what is happening on the ground, and then everyone set up to be in that meeting is selected by the government, I didn't believe they would get an honest perspective of what we are going through.
I like that. So you are going literally to be able to bring in another perspective.
Yes. My goal was to speak truth to power, honestly. And I actually did that. And even I remember when I was leaving, because they had limited media presence. When I was leaving, the journalists who were there, they kept asking me if I'm sure it would be safe for me, for them to put it out on their media that I was present and this is what I said about Kenya. I was like, yeah, because that's the truth. I'm not lying about anything and I'm not trying to mask anything. And I was actually going to post that I attended the meeting, but on my way, I was literally in the Uber back home. I started getting these notifications, and then I checked. Francis Gaither had posted that I had been invited to State House by Ruto to meet the royals, and had agreed that I had been paid. First of all, that meeting was not even in State House, and I'd never even met Ruto or anyone from the government. I was dealing directly with representatives from the embassy, and nobody paid me anything. I facilitated my own commute there, and it was literally going to speak truth to power. But I feel like because Gaitho got the upper hand in setting the narrative, and he was like, ndoi namba yake mumsalimie. Yo, the phone calls, I had to switch off my phone. Like for the rest of that week, my phone was off. The only way you could reach me was via WhatsApp or Signal. And even still, because I use the same number on WhatsApp, there are some people who chose to call me or send me messages by WhatsApp. And the messages were vile. Like, it's not even light insults, like crazy deep insults. The extent somebody is cursing me and my mother and my kids. And it's like, your lineage is cursed because you're dancing on the blood of the people who've died. I'm like, you people do not even understand what is happening. And I feel like that is a time I understood how propaganda works, how it is easy. So long as you're the first one to set out a narrative, it doesn't matter what the truth is. And the fact that there was the picture of me seated conversing with the royals, that was it. People decided I am a traitor, I have sold out, and they attacked me. So for 2 days, I kind of let it slide, but then it reached a point that even my own parents started questioning, like, is it true? Did you actually sell out? How much money were you offered? And I decided to make a video to explain it. And I posted it on my TikTok and X, and some people understood and agreed. Some people understood and they were like, it was still a bad decision. And I get that perspective as well. But there are people who are adamant on, she's a liar. Mm-hmm. She's trying to explain because she's guilty and she's masking whatever decisions she has made. And yeah, I just had to, after making that video, I just decided to write it out. And something Hanifa told me, and I still hold on to up to this day, is like, only time vindicates. You know who you are, you know what you stand for, and you know what you're out here doing. So you continue doing you, and only time is going to vindicate. And it's so funny because that was in March. In June is when we were having just before the 1 year anniversary of the June protests, the case of Albert Ojwang came up. And I was frontline in calling for justice for this family and organizing for the protest. And somebody literally sent me a message apologizing. And I saw, because at that time my WhatsApp was too busy and I actually hadn't read those messages. So it was like 2 silenced calls and then 3 messages abusing me from March. And then 1 message in June apologizing that he had insulted me and affirming that it was actually a wrong decision, a wrong thing that Guaido had pushed people towards. And he sent me M-Pesa apologizing and saying, congratulations, keep doing the good job. I was like, at least somebody, at least one person has assured me time vindicates. Yeah.
Exactly what Hanifa told you.
Yeah.
So, Shakira, one thing about tech-facilitated gender-based violence, it is amplified by victim shaming, and also there's a psychological part. So what are some of the things that you did to protect yourself from this narrative that was being sold online and people are buying it? Sometimes I feel like, is kusalimiwa for real? And then I've met you and I'm like, oh, wow.
It's crazy, but then you can't even use your phone because your phone is ringing back to back messages, SMS calls. So even like I kind of felt sorry for our MPs because sisi ndo tulianzisha hiyo kusalimiana. But I understood the impact. It actually works. If watu wanaamua kukusalimia, it does. And it's actually positive and negative because now like during in March it was about the Dutch visit and people were so much against me. I had a few who were like, I understand what you did and keep up doing the good job and all that, but majority was negative. And then towards the end of December when we were doing the end abductions KE, and then in June with Albert Ojwang and police brutality, a lot of people were encouraging me. So I nimesalimiwa both positive and negative. And I remember like in June, people sent me money because the narrative was like, this one is NIS or she's a paid activist. And then as a joke, I posted my M-Pesa balance on X. I was like, hey, watu wa activism wajanilipa. Ndiekeni is a cabbage. And I didn't think people would take it seriously. People sent me over 200,000 Kenya shillings.
Wow.
And it was like, I didn't know.
Generous Kenyans.
Kenyans can be this generous, but I'm telling you, that time I even sent my mother 100K email too. She was like, umetoa wapi hii pesa tu hivi mara moja 100,000 unanitumia? Kamwambia wewe usijali. Wakenya wanasimama na sisi.
So what advice would you give some of the feminist activists, digital feminist activists like yourself when they go through tech-facilitated gender-based violence?
For me, I feel like the biggest thing is to have a community around you. If it's not, I have quitted a lot of times actually. I'm like, Kenyans cannot be helped. At Toki Block, I'm not doing this anymore. But I have a strong community of strong women around me. People like Hanifa, people like Nerima Wako, Wafula. These are my close friends. And despite we've just known each other recently, but because of the work that we do together, we have come to form this community of strong women. We support each other. Even that time, for example, in March, they told me, Shakira, stay offline. We are going to speak on your behalf. And they mobilized people to like kunitetea online to like kind of neutralize the conversation that had started against me. And, motivating each other. You wake up, you're like, today you don't feel like doing something and things like that. One of them calls is like, why we started. We have our goal. We have to keep doing this. Because literally, if you think about it, our lives depend on this change we are seeking.
Of course.
If everybody was to sit back and say we are doing nothing, literally our country is being sold away. We don't have basic human dignity, and that is what we are going to be letting. So I feel like a strong community around me is important. I have a supportive family. I have my mother especially. She's always there to like encourage me, motivate me, to give me advice, even sometimes unsolicited. But
That's what mothers do.
how they are, and again to like help me with motherhood, because I feel like if I was to be doing this motherhood thing alone, hakuna venye ningetoboa, to be honest. So she's there. I have a very good nanny. She's been with us since my son was like 2 years old. She's basically part of the family, and she kind of understands what I've gotten myself into. In fact, sometimes if she sees I haven't been active for a while, because I do have periods of intentionally I shut people out. I stop, like I schedule rest. So I can literally
And
be
that's very
a
important.
week inside the house. I'm not going anywhere. So before she realized this is actually a pattern that I have, she would question like, what's happening? You haven't been out for like 3 days. You're supposed to be working. You're supposed to be out there kutetea watu. I'm like, no, this week is for me. I'm just resting, recuperating, breathing, doing a lot of nothing. And I feel that that's actually a privilege for me to be able to take a step back and saying, this week is just for me to rest. I do the things I enjoy. So I'm going to read books. I'm going to watch movies. I'm going to do a lot of meditation and yoga. That's very important. So community and scheduling time off, because there's this savior complex that I have to do everything. It doesn't serve anyone, because you will do it and eventually you like burn out. And then when you burn out, what happens? A lot of things are left hanging, and it's not controlled. So if it's a controlled, scheduled way of taking time off and resting, that's important. And like I mentioned earlier, I feel like being rooted, be strongly grounded in who you are as an individual is also important. Because if I was the type of person to be easily affected by what people say or how people speak about me, I would have given up a long time ago. I would, because the way you read things about yourself and you're like, hey, uni nani? Because even you don't know, you don't know that. Yeah.
Okay, well, not to be selfish, however, you can't afford to give up. Can you imagine we are talking and still this regime, the atrocities can be compared to none? Yeah. Can you imagine if you were silent?
Yeah.
What they would do?
Definitely.
So
definitely.
we need your voices, like desperately we need your voices. And I like the conversation when you talk about having a community. Because I remember one time I was doing a training for Siasa Place. And one of the things that really came up in that conversation is forming cyber communities, having a strong community to rally behind you.
Yeah.
Because tech facilitated gender-based violence is very, when you go through it, it's very lonely.
Yeah.
It's very silencing. And as you're saying, you are about to quit. The agenda of these trolls is to make sure they throw you offline.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
And if you throw yourself offline, they have won.
Yeah,
because,
for sure.
I mean, their biggest agenda is to silence us. And one of the things is because of the issue of patriarchy. We have grown up in a very patriarchal society. And a patriarchal society is an extremely violent society.
Yeah.
I mean, we see it on the online platform. So, I have another question. Is digital feminism in Kenya radical enough, or are we playing it safe?
Oh, wow. Hey, kitoka naweza kuwa cancelled.
No. We are having a very organic conversation.
To be honest, I feel like we are not yet there.
We are not yet there.
I'll give you an example. I think 2 weeks ago, the former CJ, David Maraga, he was attending a women's convention in Nakuru for the UGM party. He announced that he's going to be vying under the UGM party. And in his speech, he
My
said
president
that
of choice,
yes,
2027.
amen,
Yes.
amen.
Yes.
In his speech, he said that he's going to strive to ensure that his government is 50-50. 50% women, 50% men. And that was a clip that went viral on social media. And the conversation around it, I was like, are these the same Kenyans who are saying they want change? And the most depressing part of it is that it is women who are like pushing this conversation. The first tweet I saw was from a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a woman who I strongly believed, or rather I assumed, that she's progressive, she's a feminist, and she's part of, like, she's one of the women we have to have in the forefront in this fight that we are having. But then she was one of the first to counter the statement of the CJ, and was like, if these are the people talking about there's no way we can have 50-50 gender balance in our government, then we really don't have hope. And I feel like, it is internalized misogyny.
Mm-hmm.
It might not be intentional, but the fact, like you mentioned, our society is very patriarchal,
Mm-hmm.
and that is what we have grown up with. That is what we know. That is what we have learned from our parents. So even if you're not conscious enough and keen enough, you might be propagating patriarchal and misogynistic values, and you are not aware of it. So the fact that as a woman, you hear the CJ talking about 50-50 gender, and the first thing that occurs to your mind is that 50% of the people are going to be incompetent, and you're referencing the incompetence to women. There's something wrong with how you're thinking, and it is up to us to try and unlearn these things. It's not like a on and off switch. It is something that we have to consciously unlearn, and I really hope Kenyans are willing to do the work. Women mostly, because a lot of these aspects of patriarchy is because women allow it. And for as long as we allow it to happen, it will continue happening. So until we come up and remove ourselves from these shackles, because literally they are shackles, and they keep pulling us down and holding us back from making advances forward as women, until we are able to unleash ourselves from these strongholds of patriarchy, I can't say we are there yet as a society.
Well, there's a part of me that makes me feel that feels so sad about that statement, because it's true. It's so internalized. We don't know when we are projecting it.
Yeah.
You understand? Silently, because I saw that conversation and I was like, oh, okay, we have a breed of women leaders who we don't believe in. We look at the case of Tanzania. It's not a secret. And all that has been bundled on, it's a woman leader.
It's a woman
and now the narrative
problem.
is being sold that we can't make better leaders. And as you're saying, we need to unlearn it.
Yeah.
And unlearn it will take effort, because even mothers have to teach their daughters. Because if we are not careful, it moves from one. Yes. And their sons.
Yeah.
It will move from one generation to the next. And it will be like, tutatoka block kweli tukiendelea hivi.
Yeah.
So I have another question. There's a phrase, the revolution will be tweeted. The other day I saw somebody say the revolution will start from TikTok. Do you believe that statement?
Yeah, I mean, looking at what happened in June last year, it was heavily social media driven. And how it was propagated across the world, and we gave courage to the people of Bangladesh, to the people of Nepal.
But they finished the job.
As we were trisex.
We are trisex.
We should be proud. We should be proud, because if we hadn't sparked this fire, because we were the spark, we were not able to light the fire so that we can burn everything as intended. But the fact that we were this spark, and other countries were able to pick up from there, that is a sign that it's actually possible. I believe it was Nepal who ended up selecting their transitional government through Discord. Again, Nepal came out, protested, and they decided to select the their interim government again via social media. So with the digital age, what we are living through currently, social media is there. It's not going anywhere. Technology is there. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And it is now up to us to decide whether we are going to use it to our advantage or we are going to let it be used against us, because it's possible. We were derailed again through social media propaganda.
Yeah.
The fact that there is the cyberbullying and the slandering of
Yes.
important figures during the campaign through social media, it shows how it's a double-edged sword. So yes, the revolution is possible. It should be via digital space because that is what is convenient. It's accessible to many and it reduces a lot of barriers. But unless we actually plan and organize around using it intentionally, it can be used to our detriment against us. Yeah.
Okay. If you could write a letter to Kenyan feminists online, what would that letter say?
What would the letter to feminists say? Oh wow, that's a heavy one. You ungenitumia 2 weeks ago. Nifikirie
Then you can just
as I
get
come here.
one word.
Yeah. It will be keep going.
Mm.
Keep going, because feminists are there.
Mhm.
We are loud and we are proud. And it's just continue. Despite all the challenges that we are facing, despite all the campaigns against us to silence us, is we just keep going. Eventually, if we don't live to see the fruits of our labor, at least the next generation is going to enjoy it.
We have to live to see that day. I feel like we've been through so much atrocities, like we have to get to the promised land. Even if it's for a few years, then we can say, because I know we are standing on the shoulders of those who came before us. So
Yeah.
they are not here to witness that. But I feel like of now it's time we also witness the change that we are advocating for now. So that by the time your son grows up, the daughters that we are raising grow up, they will look at us and say, wow,
Yeah.
you made the space better than you found it. What is one myth about feminist digital activism that you would wish would die already? One myth about this feminist digital activism.
A lot of people believe that we hate men, or like we have this vendetta against men. There's a certain anger and there's a certain pain because of the advantage boys and men get to have inherently because they are men. But that doesn't mean we hate them or we want them to suffer so that we can be elevated. No, I like saying this is not struggle Olympics. We are not competing to see who is having it better or worse. No, we just, we need to be able to strive in this society without being blocked by who you are as a person. And it's not just about being a man or a woman. We also think about tribes. There's certain tribes in our country that have been elevated or hindered because of who they are tribally. Is about religion. Is just because I choose to believe this and somebody else chooses to believe this, it means they deserve certain things in life better. This identity, I don't know whether it's correct to say identity politics. Your identity or whatever badge you decide to put on yourself, it shouldn't be an hindrance or a propeller to you excelling in life. You should be able to succeed. You should be able to live peacefully. You should be able to not fear for your life, to not fear for your human dignity because of whatever label that you have. So we don't hate men. We don't want men to fail so that we succeed. In fact, society would be much more happier and excellent if we are able to all grow and progress together.
So as we come to the tail end of this conversation, we are trying to create what we call a feminist internet, And one thing our sponsors for today, who is Association for Progressive Communication, really campaigns for is a feminist internet. What does a feminist internet look like to you?
Women are allowed to make choices, and those choices not to be like detrimental to their presence online. I'll give you an example. I've had interactions with people who say, because I wear the hijab and because I publicly say I am a Muslim, it is anti-feminism, because there's this belief that Islam does not support feminism. But my rebuttal to that would be like, the fact that I have a choice whether to wear the headscarf or not, that is a feminist agenda. The fact that I have a choice to say I'm going to choose Islamic culture over Christian culture in this country, and nobody is going to kill me or punish me for that because I'm a woman who's made that choice, that is a feminist agenda. So a feminist conducive environment is where women are allowed to make choices, and those choices are not used against them because they are women.
I couldn't have said it any better.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time to be here. Again, I would say the minute you called back, I was like, oh my God. I was along Jivanji. I was like, I couldn't believe it. Like, she's actually called back. So thank you so much for making the time. Thank you so much for the digital activism that you're taking part in. And to the young girls who will watch this episode with so much admiration, I just want you to give them just one word. What would it be? Because we need more
One
Shakiras,
word?
yes. We need more Shakiras as we go on. Like we need more of you because our voices need to be heard.
I feel like one word. Let me say one
Okay,
sentence.
just say one sentence.
Let me
yeah.
say one sentence. You are enough. Just the way you are. The fact that you inherently exist. You deserve to be here. You deserve to be you. You are one of a kind. So take advantage of that and run with that. Yeah.
Thank you. And there's something that is burning in my mind with this bloodthirsty regime that we are in. And I always tell people I'm not scared to say it because it is a bloodthirsty regime. Do you think digital activism will get us to where we want to be in terms of accountability and governance and end corruption, the massive corruption that is taking place in this regime?
Definitely. Right now, we have an unprecedented methods of documenting. So, in as much as justice is being delayed in very many aspects, we still have the evidence, and we are going to make sure we are at a position where we are able to use that evidence to advantage and punish everyone who's involved. So, at least that is actually one of the things that gives me hope that we tukona evidence kwa karatasi, so nobody can deny anything. Right now they have the advantage of being the ones in power, being the ones controlling the narrative, and our effort is towards changing that. And as soon as we are able to, once the table turn, we're going to make sure that justice is served. Even if delayed, justice has to be served.
Even if delayed, justice will be served. The streets might be empty and silent for now, but our voices will continue to roar online until
Amen.
we get the accountability that we need, until we get the democracy that we need, until this regime knows that they are here to serve people and not their own interest. Thank you so much for joining us today. And as we head to the 16 days of activism, please try and take part in any way that you can. As I said, the theme is digital violence, that is tech-facilitated gender-based violence. If you can, it is important to be able to speak out so that we can be able to defend women and minority groups online. See you in the next episode.
Thank you.